My sister's first son, Darren, is in 10th, and my sister is tired of answering the question, what is he going to do after his 10th grade? Some parents who have their children in 10th choose either sciences, commerce, or arts based on how good are they academically. If they're very good academically, this is why don't you do sciences or commerce? And if they're not really good, it's like, why don't you do arts? Some parents think that if there is a lot of scope in engineering, a lot of scope in medicine, and so science has got great scope, so push the children towards sciences or commerce. And then if the children are reluctant, say do arts. Very few parents would really think that there's great scope in arts. In this video, I'm going to share with you what I tell the students and parents who come to CFL for advice on what they should do after 10th. The first thing I tell them is, you know yourself very well. What I mean by this, see, I'm Vijay. I'm born in Mangalore. I'm a Christian. I went to Aloysius. I know Kannada, Tulu, Hindi, English, and so on. These are things that have been given to me by the external world. Right? This is not me. What makes me me is my strengths, what my intelligence is, and my personality. So when I did this test, the Gallup test, the Strength Finder test, I realized my strengths are, I'm a learner, I'm a creative person, I like commitments, I like more and for a focused person, and so on. Intelligence could be multiple things, right? One of my friend, his number one strength was wooing. So he was a great influencer. Your strengths could be anything, could be discipline, could be focus, and so on. So when you know your strengths, you know that if you stick on certain careers, you will do really well. The second thing you really need to know is your personality. What I mean by this is, are you focused internally? Are you focused externally? That is, are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Second question is, how do you take in information? Are you a sensing person? Are you an intuition person? The third question is, how do you take decisions? Are you take decisions by sense or feeling? Or you take decisions by thinking? And then, how do you live your outside world? Are you a judging person? Are you a perceiving person? A judging person, just takes out, for example, makes these are the rules, these are the guidelines, these are the processes, I'm going to stick with them. A perceiving person will say that those are fine, but they're always breakable. So that is personality types. If you know your personality, I'm an INTJ. You'll say INTJ person has got certain amount of strengths. You can check whether your strengths match the strengths with your personality or your strength finder test. The next thing is, you need to know your intelligences. People generally says, when you talk about intelligence, they only talk about academic intelligences. And that's so wrong. Intelligence could be existential, that is spiritual intelligences. It could be kinesthetic intelligence, sports intelligences. It could be spatial intelligences. It could be, for example, communication intelligences, interpersonal intelligences, and so on. Now, if a student is able to tell me, these are my strengths, these are my personalities, these are my interests, or these are my intelligences, then choosing a career or choosing what you want to do in life becomes very easy. If you're choosing based on what other people are telling you, this is a good scope, this is a good field, and so on, you're doing it for somebody else. This is what I tell them. Now, that being said, it requires a lot of commitment from the parent, from the student, to do these tests. If you're doing a personality test, it's a Briggs-Myers test. If you're doing a strengths finders test, that'll give you from Gallup, will give you the strength finder test. We've done a separate video on this, on finding your personalities, finding your interests, and so on. Please look at that. That gives you a very detailed view to know yourself. Now, let's say you are bent on saying that, Vijay, please tell me, should I use PCB, PCMB, commerce and arts? I tell them this. See, the 20th century industrial revolution age 3.0 is done. Now it's industrial age 4.0. What I mean by this is that the world is changing very rapidly. And now there is artificial intelligence, robotics, genetic engineering, quantum computing, Internet of Things, and so on, changing the world rapidly. So if you're an engineer and you say, I don't like biology, a lot of engineering work is done for medicine, for biology. And if you're become a doctor and says, I don't like engineering, a lot of engineering right now is used in medicine. If you're in arts and you say, for example, I don't like computer sciences, you will not survive in the 21st century. So with the 21st century coming, no matter what field you go, you have to know something about the other fields. So here am I to tell you that if you're a 10th standard student, and if you're a parent of a student or a child that is going in 10th and going to 11th right now, I tell them, if you're taking sciences, don't hesitate to take something from commerce or arts. If you're taking commerce, take something from the sciences and something from the arts. If you're taking arts, take some course from the commerce and something from the sciences. There's a beautiful video out there on careers, and that video is from Susan Colantuono. She talks about people who are successful generally are successful because they've identified the greatness or able to bring out the greatness in themselves. Be your best. That's the motto of CFL. Now, if you know your strengths, your personalities, your intelligences, you can bring out the strengths or you bring out your intelligences and develop your personalities, and you can become the greatness in you. But you need something else. Parents never focus on this. You need to take your children and the students out there have to learn that I have to get skills that will bring out the greatness in others. Now, what I mean by this is, if you have negotiation skills, you have skills that can resolve conflicts, you have communication skills, you have interpersonal skills, you have skills that you can get up after a failure. Nothing will put you down. These are skills that will make you very successful. This is why students who are not very academically successful as well, can have these skills, which is communication skills, interpersonal skills, negotiation skills, conflict resolving skills, and become very successful businessmen, entrepreneurs. Now, if you have a skill that brings out the greatness in you, greatness in others, and along with that, if you have finance skills, strategy skills, and business skills, no matter what you do, you will become very successful. Let's say you chose the arts fields and you've taken yourself into, for example, advertising, and you become an advertising executive. You're the best. And you have got able to recruit people and a team, and you're able to bring out the greatness in them. And then you have business skills, finance skills, strategy skills. One day you will become, or you'll have, the greatest ad agency in this world. So these things are very important. Now, these things are very complicated for you students that I really don't have the time on go through all this. I give them two things. One is this chart, and in this chart I say that if you're using PCB, all these careers will open up to you. If you're, for example, using PCM and then statistics or biology, all these careers will open up to you. That including design, movie making, and so on. If you're using, for example, arts, there are so many careers out there that opens up to you. And if you're using commerce, all these careers are open up to you. So this chart, I give it to you, and it's already there. I'm going to put it as a link there and attach it to this video. Please look at it. If not, send us a comment out there or tell us what you think can make this chart better, and I'll work on that. The next method out there is something wonderful. It's something that I've come across after seeing or doing a lot of career and job interviews, And I found a site called Mentoria. And I'm going to run you through Mentoria. And it tells you, for example, if you are wanting to become an advertising executive, how to go about it. To Mentoria now. So the other way that I talk about is ask students to go through a site called Mentoria. If you go to Mentoria, and there is something called as Knowledge Gateway there, and go to a career library there. Once you're in the career library, it says Discovers Careers. Type in any career you want, and it'll show you the path to get there. Now, I'm a petroleum engineer, and I'll show you how to become a petroleum engineer, or what are the path you have to take to become a petroleum engineer. So you go there and type petroleum, the options will come petroleum engineer. It'll ask you 3 basic questions. Do you have interest in scientific equipment? Do you traveling to remote locations in the world interests you? And then it says, do you like to make the engines across the world run a little longer because of you? It says, yes, totally. Then it says a petroleum engineer is a person who designs and develops methods and tools for exploring petroleum products and so on. Petroleum engineer generally does that, right? Then it says, what are your roles and responsibility going to be as a petroleum engineer? It says evaluation of production capacity, designing drilling and exploration methods, which I did, developing tools, machines, equipment, and extracting petroleum products. That's pretty much an R&D. I didn't do that. Operating softwares to control the machines, petrol engineer needs to spend a lot of time using estimation, simulation software, IT tools, and so on, which I had to do. Managing the job site for overall production, ensuring safety at the rig site, monitoring production, efficiency, and so on. It tells you that the kind of skills that you need to have. I've told you in the previous thing, skills are very important. First skill, it says scientific bent of mind. What does that mean? It says petroleum engineers must be adept in practical application of science, technology, and engineering knowledge. Apart from educational background, a person should have all these skills and knowledge required for day-to-day operations. Mechanical knowledge, communication skills, decision-making skills, analytical skills, problem-solving skills. You see that skills becomes very important, right? And it tells you what's your work environment going to be. So petroleum engineers require you to work offshore, onshore, and so on. I did 3 years of offshoring before I moved to the job and worked the next, 14 years on the desk. What's the career scope? It says the career scope, it tells you a brief background, where you're going to work, which companies are going to hire you, and so on. Then it tells you the pay scale. It says you can expect somewhere between 3 lakhs to 15 to 7 lakhs in India. If you're working abroad, you learn much more than that. And then it tells you the path. It says first, when you are in 10th and 11th, 12th, you need to have inclination towards physics, chemistry, math. Then it says when you're doing graduation, you need to do petroleum engineering or something related to mechanical and so on. Then it says once you secure a job, this is the kind of jobs you will do, and then you need to pursue your master's or a doctorate if you want to start working in countries that are international or get recruited internationally, and so on. I'm going to show you something unrelated to science and math. Let's say you wanted to become something into let's say petroleum engineering, I've done, but something into advertising. So if you type advertising there, it says, do you want to be an advertising executive, illustrator, cartoonist, graphic designer, or a photographer? I'll take one called advertising executive. It says, how often do you spot ads on paper and online? Do they remember jingles or slogans of different brands? And would you like to create your own ads for your favorite brands one day? It says totally. It says, if you love brands, in the world of brands, products and services, and you think that your ideas can help them promote them and help them, then consider the job of advertising. It tells you what your roles and responsibility are going to be. It says conducting market research. Very few people would think that research and marketing, absolutely, that's the number one thing you'll be doing. Then it says focusing on a brand image, presenting campaign ideas to senior management or clients, suggesting ideas, creating storyboards, arranging and casting shooting and commercials, staying in touch with other departments for selecting right advertising material, measuring the effectiveness of campaigns that could be on social media, on GDNs and Google, selecting agencies and experts in the work, and discussing and pricing strategies. So finance there. Key skills you need to have. Number 1, again, communication skills, creativity skills, analytical skills, organization skills. What's your work environment going to be? If you're working in advertising, you're going to be working long hours, frequent hours. However, you'll get to meet interesting people and people from all walks of life. Your career is going to be entirely deadline driven. Work is going to be hectic, stressful at times. Whether you're working in the agency or anywhere, it'll be going to be demanding. But that being said, you'll be traveling to exciting places, you'll be meeting exciting people, and so on. What's the scope like going to be? It's going to tell you where you're going to be working and how you can create your own company one day. Pay scale, it's when you're going to start, you're going to something between 3 lakhs and you could be earning around 17 lakhs in India. What's your career path? When you're in 11th and 12th, you need to focus on subjects like English, communication skills, and then to think about advertising or marketing when you are in 11th and 12th. Upon graduation, it could be in journalism, advertising, marketing, BBM, and so on. You need to get an internship. Once you get an internship and then land a job, you need to do those 3 things, or internship and a job, before pursuing your master's level. And if you're looking doing a master's level abroad, then you can work as an advertising executive internationally. So no matter what you are, like what you want to become, Mentoria helps you or with a path to get to the place or get to your career. So this is the two things that I say. Use either the chart I've shown you or Mentoria. Those are the shortcuts. Now, if you really like this video and if you think the information that I've provided you helped you in any way, please subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Thank you.